Hey y'all, this is Marley K. I got something that I want to talk about, and it's going to be maybe a long video, longer than usual, because it's something that I picked up on about 5 years ago, and I wrote about it. So I want to show you where I wrote about it on Medium after I talk about this subject, because I don't want y'all to think I just be pulling stuff out my butt. But I'm a deep thinker, and I look at stuff critically and I question everything. Sometimes some stuff just jumps out at me, but sometimes I can't put it together. But with this particular topic, with the BLM and the trans LGBTQ community, I knew something wasn't right, and I knew that they were setting that organization up to be a scapegoat and to muddy the waters with Black people. Um, there are a lot of different agendas going on, as we talk about all the time, but I'm always concerned about how Black people are portrayed in the media, how Black men are being vilified and crucified, as well as Black young boys, how regular old gun violence in our community now, and gang violence has now shifted to mass shootings, so that you can erase the fact that the majority of mass shootings in this country are conducted by white people, whether it's white men, white women, mostly white men. Um, and it just something that's not sitting well with my spirit when it comes to them trying to merge mass shooting violence with Black people. Black men being whatever you want to call it, alphabet people, and violent. And then the fact that um, the portrayal of Black men being emasculated in the media. There's a concerted effort to do that. Like no other men, and I take that back. The men who are in high places, who put themselves out there to do the bidding because they done sold their souls to the devil. That's one thing. But just us regular old Black folks out here, whether you watch TV, you look at billboards, you look at ads and commercials, so on and so forth, television shows, Black men either are shown with white women, like can't be with us. They got to be in a group of, if they're heterosexual, they're with a white woman or another type of woman. They are trans, cross-dressing, questioning, or just weird, but not any straight, strong, heterosexual Black men in Black communities with Black people, healthy, good mind, good manners, good character. That's rare. And so when you look at the dominant society and who controls media, we know who controls all the media. We don't have to talk about that. But the way that this story is being portrayed, like this gunman, mass shooting, BLM activist, wore women's clothes. So gunman wore women's clothes. Gunman who wore women's clothes was a BLM activist. And now we know BLM is a defunct organization. Nobody's going to jail. People done spent all this money. They raised all this money. It was funded by, basically the powers that be to mislead the whole world um, about who's actually running things. This organization was basically run by women and people from the LGBTQ community, and I did a piece about I questioning who was running the organization and how did the slogan get hijacked. So let me get into this story first, and then I'll take you to my story that I wrote questioning it on my blocked Medium page that nobody can see. If you send me an email at marleykistiredofracism@gmail.com, I will print this off and send it to you as a PDF. That's all I can do. Unless you go to the Internet Archives, it might be there. Um, if you go to the Internet Archives, because this was online, even if it's taken down, you should be able to access stuff there if you have the title. So I will see if I can pull it up on the Internet Archives. That might be the only way you get to see it. But anywho, here it says the gunman arrested for a Philadelphia mass shooting that left 5 dead is BLM activist who wore women's clothes. Sources. So this story came out on July 4th, 2023, and it is on the New York Post website. There are a couple of different versions of stories about this individual, but I just found this one because it's the New York Post and because I know who controls this particular entity and how they're connected to a web of entities that are very anti-Black, very anti-heterosexual Black man, strong Black man, and very suspect. So let's just say that. They are the identity thieves. All right, let's get into it. The rifle-wielding suspect who donned a bulletproof vest before allegedly shooting dead 5 men and injuring 2 children in Philadelphia has been identified as a Black Lives Matter supporter who shared gun-toting memes on social media, which is suspect to me. It's so suspect to me. Kim Brady Carricker, 40, was nabbed shortly after the bloodshed in the city's King Sessing neighborhood Monday night, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported, citing sources. Cops have yet publicly disclosed the suspect's identity. On Facebook, Carricker posted 2 pictures of himself wearing a bra, a women's top, and earrings with his hair braided long in March, 3 months before the alleged shooting. He also regularly posts about supporting Black Lives Matter, including supporting workers who protested in the strike for Black Lives in July 2020, which is suspect because by then we knew this organization wasn't right. So you know what I'm saying? Just ain't right. So this is allegedly the shooter. Allegedly. That's the shooter too. Allegedly. Police said the 40-year-old male suspect was armed with rifle, pistol, extra magazines, a police scanner, and bulletproof vest when he fatally shot 4 men on the street and then chased and killed a 5th man inside a home. A 2-year-old boy was shot 4 times in the legs, while a 13-year-old boy also suffered gunshot wounds to his legs, according to cops. The gunman had fired at police as they chased him several blocks before he eventually surrendered in an alley, Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw said. Carricker also described himself as a computer engineer and showed an interest in guns, posting pictures and memes of people with firearms. One image featured a person holding a pistol with caption, "Wherefore art thou, opposition, so I may slide upon thine block and runneth down on thee." Another one of his posts showed footage of several kids firing off rounds from a rifle. In May 2020, Carricker also posted a video to his Facebook of a burning Philadelphia police car that had been daubed with graffiti, including ACAB, an acronym for All Coppers Are Bastards, I guess, and captioned it, "If I was there, where were you? Hashtag we matter." However, it is unclear if he had filmed the video himself. The shooter was taken into custody without incident, didn't have any connection to the victims prior to the shooting, Outlaw added. Carricker's old roommate, Tina Rosette, 49, told the Inquirer she's shocked to learn of his involvement in the shooting. "I didn't even know he had a gun," she said. Rosette described Carricker as really smart, intelligent, creative, and someone who loved computers, but said he had an aggressive approach to some things in life. She recalled him teaching young people how to fight purportedly in self-defense, but he failed to give them directions on when to stop. Carricker was armed with magazines, just extra pictures. Then Rosette's daughter, Siani Rosette, who also lived with the alleged shooter, said Carricker had flashed a handgun several times. He was trying to get me comfortable around guns and stuff like that, she said. The mother and daughter said they lived with Carricker in 2021 but moved out about a year ago. The elder Rosette said she believed he'd been in a dark place of late, but she didn't know why. Carricker had been arrested in 2003 and charged with possession of a weapon without a license, carrying a firearm in public, and drug possession, according to Philadelphia court records. He eventually pleaded guilty to having a firearm without a license, and other charges were dropped. He was placed on 3 years probation and made to pay over $1,000 in costs. Carricker had at one point appeared to start his own LDS frameworks, writing software and developing computer games, but it had been inactive since 2019. At the scene of Monday night's shooting, officers said they found dozens of shell casings strewn across 8 blocks. You can see there are several scenes out here, Outlaw said. We're canvassing the area to get as much as we can to identify witnesses, to identify where cameras are located, and to do everything to figure out why, Outlaw said. Cops have since identified the slain victims as Lasheed Merritt, 20, Demir Stanton, 29, Ralph Morales, 59, Dewan Brown, 15, and Joseph Wama Jr., 31. So after reading this story, it don't have nothing to do with nothing. You don't know whether the shooter had on women's clothes when he was shooting. It don't have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. I don't know if you consider this a mass shooting. We don't even know enough information to consider it a mass shooting, but you see how these them folks, tabloid magazines, because they control the communications, how they're easily able to get out here and frame a narrative and smear a person and make the whole of Black men look a certain way, and then link us to this Black Lives Matter movement when the majority of heterosexual men didn't even support the movement, because once you read the mission, you saw it was run by women, and the mission didn't have nothing to do with men. Didn't even mention men in the mission statement of who they served. So I'm gonna switch over to my Medium story. So you can see here, I wrote it July 29th, 2018, almost 5 years ago. And it says, hijacked, who is really leading the Black Lives Matter movement? I did a lot of research on this. Didn't hardly get any reads because it was too long. Y'all know y'all got TikTok brain. So if it ain't 3 minutes or less and you can't scroll through it, you don't read it. So, I never wrote to cater to those types of people. If you happen to stumble upon my work, you was going to learn something. So I'm trying to still be the same way. But I just don't write anymore because it's just people don't care. So, and they're taking your stuff down and you can't talk about the things that you need to talk about. So the reason that I did this, one is because I'm a fundraiser, so I'm always trying to follow money to see where money is going, who's giving money, what the money is used for, and when I look at organizations to see whether or not they're doing what they're supposed to do, and if they, whether or not they have mission creep. That's important to me, especially when you claim to be serving Black people. But I had gotten a lot of behind the scene tips from people who are real activists from all over the country, saying stuff like, look, these people are getting money, but they're not giving us any money. And I was like, word? Tell me more. So they started telling me their stories. I had, people were just messaging me and telling me stuff and emailing me. So I just started doing my own research, and then I found out that this organization got like bukus of money. So, um, one of the things that is our problem in our community is we will scream out that we have a problem, but then we don't put our money where our mouths are. We don't say, okay, well, we're going to create an action agency just for us, and we're going to fund it. We're going to make sure we got a good, executive director. We're going to pay her. She's going to represent our interests. She's going to speak our language. She's going to speak and say the things that we tell her to say, and it's not going to have nothing to do with politics. Now, you might have to lobby, which means basically you got to grease palms to get your agenda done. But as long as you're funding it and y'all are on the organization, the grassroots organization is on the same page, you're good. Well, that's one area that Black people fall short in, and it's one reason we cannot move forward is because Black people don't understand how business works, and they don't understand how politics works, and they don't understand how government works. And all these different grassroots organizations like the NRA, the ACLU, the Southern Poverty Law Center, even the NAACP, even though it was founded by them folks, and they put us there and to basically keep an eye on us and work against our interests. Money is put behind it. And they found a way to pimp us of our money, but they don't do anything for us. And then even when we discover that, we don't do anything about it. We don't create legitimate organizations that will operate in the way that we need them to operate for us. We spend money on Red Lobster. We'll buy sneakers. We will buy name brand clothes. We'll brag about bags. We'll buy lace front wigs. We'll go to the Asian hair store, get cussed out, followed around like we are criminals, to just get stuff to do our hair. We'll give our money to McDonald's. We'll go to the crab in a bag place. We do all kinds of stuff with our money. We'll buy jewelry. We'll buy grills. We'll get overpriced cars. We'll buy red bottom shoes. We will spend our money on anything. We will get behind everything that gives our money and our power away to somebody else and won't fund ourselves. And so this is what this piece was about. But during the process, I figured out that this organization didn't serve men, even though the slogan Black Lives Matter came really from the slaughter of Trayvon Martin in Sanford, Florida. And then there's this other young man, I can't remember, I think his name was Jordan, the one who was killed, I think, in Jacksonville or someplace at a gas station. And his mother was from Georgia. They ended up becoming legislators, but I think this young man was in college. But in any event, the whole movement was about Black men being gunned down by white men. And then somehow it was stolen, incorporated, made a national chapter, pimped the local grassroots organizations or loosely organized groups because they didn't officially incorporate, had them raising money. People was giving money to these groups. The national chapter was taking the money, and then they started buying houses and doing all kinds of stuff and going on television and getting speaking engagements. And really, it was a gay organization, an LGBTQ organization, masked as something that was helping Black people. So here I said, who is leading BLM? And I said, what's really going on? I'm a little worried right now with all the international hacking being disclosed. Hackers are preying on America's racial divide, which is still true. That's what this article is about, because it was created to show Black people in a negative light. And it says all Black people are a hot commodity these days. When it's time during the political season, the other reason I'm talking about this, here it is, we're coming upon another political season. And with the ending of affirmative action, the promotion of the LMNOP agenda and their rights, and the erasure of Black people in general, you can easily see the race war coming. You can see the subgroups fighting, but we are always the whipping post. So I said, furthermore, I'm concerned because the first movement was started because of police brutality against Black men and women across the U.S., but primarily Black men. But if you look at the What We Believe page on the BLM website, there is no mention of men anywhere. Although at the local levels, men killed by police is the primary focus of protest and advocacy. Didn't it all begin with the murder of Trayvon Martin and his murderer, George Zimmerman, being acquitted of all the charges because of the Florida's, stand your ground law? It's that dreaded law that gives lawful privilege to white scary cats and bullies with guns to do harm to Black and brown people, but especially Black men, when they feel they are in danger, even when they most times provoke the danger by not minding their own business in the first damn place. Excuse my French. So I did a screenshot of their guiding principles. And their guiding principles was diversity, restorative justice, globalism. Now y'all know this right here was the red flag for me. When they talk about globalism, Negroes don't care nothing about no globalism. We don't even hardly know what that is. Most of us don't. I mean, I know what it is because of the type of work I do. But nobody cared about no globalism. That is not a concern of ours. Queer affirming. That ain't a topic of the Black community. Unapologetically Black, yes. Collective value, what does that even mean? Empathy, what does that even mean? Loving engagement, what does that even mean? Transgender affirming, what? Black villages, what? Black women, say what? Black families, get out of here. And intergenerational, but not a Black man, no place. Not a one. This came directly from their website. I don't know if the website is still up. I did include a link to it, and I will include a link to it. Let me click on it and see if it'll take me there. Oh, they gone. It's gone. Okay. So I said the reason for the BLM slogan was a response to police misconduct, excessive force, and killings of unarmed Black people, especially Black men. Unless the founders of the global BLM movement have decided that killings of unarmed Black men specifically are no longer an issue, there's a serious conflict with the BLM official website and the protests going on in the streets. We spew Black Lives Matter all day, every day, without even going to the source to see what they are really advocating. And so I said, source everything. And I still stand by that, which is why I love to say, follow the money. When I take you someplace, I'm going to see who on the board, who's supporting that organization, because that tells you what's driving the purpose. So remember my previous question about what happens when you don't put your money where your movement is. Well, let me show you and tell you what happens. So, when I was trying to get to the money trail and about the Black dollars, I did an extensive amount of research. And so the first thing I found was that there were two Black Lives Matter organizations. There was one in DC. It had $1 million in assets at the time. They had a tax return of 33 pages. And what was interesting is that it is very closely related to that organization that came out. I can't remember what happened. It's the Black Trans organization that it's a lobbying organization. It's on K Street where all the lobbyists live or work. So anyway, this whole thing was just messy for me. Another thing that I found, as far as the Black Lives Matter Global Network goes, I attempted to donate on the website, which is supposed to be the head of the Black Lives Matter, according to the web. And there I found a very small disclaimer indicating the organization has partnered with another organization called Thousand Currents, formerly IDEX, the International Development Exchange. This meant I had to dig more, which made me suspect there are dead cats on the line, since the national mouthpiece for the BLM movement can't or won't complete the proper documentation to conduct business as a legitimate vehicle and fundraise in a manner that's transparent like most. How is anyone supposed to take this charity seriously if they can't organize their social justice vehicle, which allows them to have a seat at the table? Formally organizing and officially fundraising in your own organization's name also allows others to hold you accountable. If I donate, who do I hold accountable? What am I funding? Who or what am I investing in? Am I supporting the fight for criminal justice? Should be reformed, or overly aggressive policing tactics and globalism? So researching the pass-through entity for BLM. So now I'm forced to research Thousand Currents, which is an organization with a focus of social justice giving, organizational resilience, community self-determination, and global solidarity. Can you see where some of the themes now come from on the BLM's website? So that piece that I showed you earlier that had everything on it but black, or something about black men. So these organizations that they are tied into, helped shape what their mission was. Um, so it says the only and most recent tax return available for this organization was back in 2016 after the name change. In 2017, Thousand Currents was awarded the BLM Global Network grant totaling funds totaling a little over $28,000. So then another twist. It says, although noted as Black Lives Matter Foundation on Foundation Center's website, which is a website that you can go to research any charity that files a tax return, and that is required to by law. After clicking on the 990 return, the group located in Washington, D.C., I learned the organization's real name is the Praxis Project, not Black Lives Matter. This group has nothing to do with the Black Lives Matter movement. They don't even use the language to describe the same purposes and principles as BLM on their official website or on their brief Wikipedia page. More confusion. If I'm looking to discover what BLM is all about, to determine whether I want to donate, volunteer, or to be a part of the movement, how do I do that if there's no reliable vehicle for me to inspect? So, that's why I came up with the thing about it being hijacked. And so then I basically connect all these different organizations and talk about how, they legitimately organize and they raise money, but Black people don't necessarily do that. But anywho, what my what I walked away with was that this organization was funded by some operatives, and these people who were running this organization were shadows. They were not legit. And so for years, these people ran all over the country, raised money, promoted everything. They showed up when Black men were killed, but their real motive was to push this Black LGBTQ agenda. And then when you find out everybody who worked for the organization was queer, then it was like, what the heck is going on? What about the men? Where did this come from? None of this stands. We didn't pick these people. They just popped up on the scene and took over. And so then it just became really obvious that this organization was using Black death and Black men to push a different agenda, like the dominant society always does. And so to go back to this story, The reason that this story is what it is today is because the people who crafted this thing, you know, probably 8, 9, 10 years ago, after the death of Trayvon Martin and after people started chanting Black Lives Matter, they all had this all planned out. And so now Black folks are getting ready to be linked to this alphabet movement, and Black men are getting ready to be linked to mass shootings and violence and debauchery and everything that counters the, what the Most High wants for us. And so it's just really interesting watching all this evolve now and knowing, years ago I was on this, and when I try to share it and talk to people about it, especially our people, as usual, people call me crazy and a conspiracy theorist. So I knew what I was talking about because I follow the money. But now here we are collectively stuck with this labeling or mislabeling because our people won't do our due diligence, because our people won't speak out and stand up for ourselves, because we allow other people to come into our community and set up organizations and movements or different groups to latch themselves onto our movements, only to find later on that we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, robbed, and we have nothing to show for it except for shame and more marginalization, in addition to scapegoating. So to me, these stories about all these mass shootings, now notice how the gang related shootings have evolved into mass shootings, and now you're seeing all of a sudden Black queer people or even some white queer people are involved in mass shootings, something that never happened before. um, and all these different labels that are associated with Black men, I find it extremely problematic. I find it extremely scary. And I'm quite concerned about our community because we know the LGBTQ community is a small part of the Black community. They don't speak for everybody, but somehow, because we allowed them to either co-opt Black Lives Matter and turn it into Trans Lives Matter, or we missed the BS with the global Black Lives Matter network group who basically stole, billions of dollars from people, bought houses, nobody went to jail. It's just like nothing happened. And here we are left to pick up the pieces. Now we got something else that we got to try to shake off of us, another label on Black men. And, they're going to merge the two. So Black men now are going to be seen as mass murderers. All these young guys running around here shooting, having these gang fights about stuff that they don't even own in communities that they don't even own a mailbox, let alone a house or a condo or a sidewalk, a driveway. They're getting ready to set us up. And they played the long game, but our people did not catch what was happening. And so now here we are, years later, and Black men are getting ready to be set up. Black communities are getting ready to be set up. The Civil War has been set up. All they got to do is keep agitating, 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 slowly until the kettle explodes or the powder keg explodes, excuse me. So pay attention to these headlines because, you see these These words altogether, you may take them for granted. But these seeds were planted a long time ago for this very purpose, so that they could type this and put this out on Front Street so that it could demoralize our community, because they understand that, unlike white people, when somebody in our community does something, we all shamed. First thing we say, oh God, I hope they ain't black. You go look at the picture. Oh God, they're black. And then, we grieve because it's like, what's wrong with them? What happened to them? Collectively, when somebody does something, bad in our community, we all feel it. That's how y'all made us, because that's how we supposed to be. We ain't supposed to bring shame on our people. We're not supposed to be doing anything that is going to make the community look bad. We're not supposed to do anything that's going to bring dishonor to your parents, and embarrassment. So, again, everything that the dominant society has us doing, we always mocking y'all. Always. We're always harming ourselves. We're always being disobedient. We're always out here looking crazy in these streets. And we are being disobedient. So, these people know what we're supposed to be doing because they stole our identity. They know what we're not supposed to be doing because they stole our identity. They got our book. They live how we supposed to live, and we live the way that they live. We physically live who they are, and they're living who we are. So it's like we switched roles, and it's just very disheartening that so many of us don't know who we are. We don't walk in who we are, and we can't even wake our people up. We love debauchery. We love trash. We love Babylon and Babylonian ways, Babylonian gods, Babylonian culture. And so we can expect to see more of this, because over the years, when nobody was paying attention, that Black Lives Matter organization planted seeds all over the country to do what's happening right now. So pay attention to these headlines, pay attention to these stories, and don't just believe everything that you see, because I'm believing there's more to these stories than meets the eye. Definitely not believing it just happenstance. I believe our people are being set up, and I believe they're making it so that people will not tolerate us. And when I say us, I mean Yasharel. We're gonna be seen. We're gonna be called bywords still, but they're making the atmosphere such where we are not tolerated, we're not wanted, we're not going to be respected, and our men are going to be in danger. And that's dangerous to us all, because the men are the protectors of our community. They are supposed to head and lead our community like everybody else's community. We the only community. We like women supposed to do a lot, a lot, a lot. I don't need no man. Well, when the war break out, these sisters who don't need no man, the degrees not gonna stop no bullets. You can hold your degree up. It's not gonna stop anybody from breaking into your house. It's not gonna stop nobody from mistreating you, and it's not gonna protect you from nothing. That's why, you know, the dominant society understands that, and so they've created this divide amongst us and push these different agendas, especially among our young people, who don't know any better. And that's primarily what it was for, to push this globalism, queer, la la la. So I did a follow up to this BLM piece a couple of years ago, and there are a couple of other good people who did some stuff on the Black Lives Matter organization, after I did. I don't think anybody did it before I did. I think I questioned first. You can look at the dates on the pieces and see. But I know back in 2018, I was questioning, like, what's going on? something is not right. And so now my suspicions were correct. So again, let me show you the date. July 29th, 2018. It was a 16-minute read. It was on my page called Marleyisms. And see that up there? It says your account was found in violation of the rules. I was in violation of the rules. So let me show you my profile. Let me see if it'll let me go to my profile from here. I don't think so. Anywho. Oh, wait. These folks, they don't like me, y'all. They don't like me. Okay, so this was my page. I have 50,000 followers. And it took me forever to get them, but they wouldn't let me be great. So I ended up getting my page locked. In any event, I just want to show y'all this is censorship, mind you. So I'm gonna see if I can find my stuff on the Internet Archives if I can, which I should be able to. But if I can, I will try to use that to have discussions. I think they archive blogs. But in the meantime, y'all don't let these folks trick us. Let us not get caught up in what's happening and forget that the puppet masters are pulling all the strings. We are just, innocent bystanders trying to get information and take care of our own. And they don't want us to do that. And we're also a prideful people. Like, we are proud people and we care about how our community acts and behaves. And they know that. They've studied us. We are the most studied people on earth, whether y'all want to believe that or not. Everybody has studied us. And they know how we react. They know everything about us. We just don't ever process, or we underestimate how much they know about us. They know how we're going to move. They know we are spiritual people, which is why when we were chanting Black Lives Matter, they were busy forming this organization, piecemealing some women together and some queer women together to organize to make this organization be about everything but Black men. Is intentional. And even, you look back at this headline, everything about what they're doing is intentional. So y'all don't be swayed by these people at all. Look, this is my last piece I wrote. The Great Reset is underway. December 23rd, 2022. I couldn't publish nothing else after that. I was telling y'all, I went to bed. I wrote this. I published it. I went to bed. Christmas Day, maybe my page was blocked and I couldn't publish nothing else. And, that's what censorship is going to be like for us. So I got this big red nasty gram across my face. But it is what it is. I'm working for the Most High. I'm not working for myself. I ain't worried about nothing. He's made a way for me every day since then. It was a little rough in the beginning because I was in my feelings. But, I had to figure out I'm in a spiritual battle. And I'm working with principalities, wicked ones. So I had to get myself together and move on. And so that's what I've done. And that's what we have to do when we get stopped, when the devil puts an obstacle in our way. We got to shake it off, redirect, and move in another direction. So let us continue to be about our business. Let us pay attention to what's happening in this world. Understand everything that's happening in this earth is going to be somehow redirected back to us. because it's about us. It's about true Israel and about them fake people who behind the scenes controlling everything, vilifying us. Understand that and then move accordingly. We got a lot of things we got to deal with. We got a lot of things we got to contend with. We got a lot of things we got to watch. So don't get caught up in these stories. When you see stuff like this, and pay attention to the headlines. It's suspect. Don't believe everything you read. There's an agenda going on and it's attached to us. Make sure you understand that and use it as a data point to know where we are in the big scheme of things. That's all I got. All right, continue to pray, continue to prep, continue to seek the Most High, continue to repent daily for your sins of commission and sins of omission. Excuse this noise in the background. It is my refrigerator. I don't know what is happening. It is just having a spasm, but I'm getting ready to end this video. So I love y'all. I'll be looking out for my people. I love my people and I want us to be well. So let us continue to fight the good fight. Get in your word, get your strength up, because we got a spiritual battle we got to get into, and most people don't even know they are in one. So see these stories, but don't see the stories. Pay attention to the headlines. When you see this BLM, he wore women's clothes, mass shooting, understand that there's agenda behind this. And again, if you want this article, I will see if I can find it on the Internet Archives. But if I can't, if you email me at marleykistiredofracism.com. I'm sorry, marleykistiredofracism at gmail.com. I will send you the entire um, PDF so that you can read the whole thing. Um, I don't know if any of the links will work in it because they have everything blocked. But if you need to know where to find the information, you just message me and I will be happy to show you where I got it from. All right, y'all good people. Love y'all. Take care. Stay woke. Not them other folks woke. Stay our woke. Awaken and then arise. I'm out.